So what kind of return have you been able to see for your clients? You mentioned $20 for non-obvious, $100 for obvious.
Starting budgets, because you can, Pinterest is amazing. So they're like, we meet with so many members of the Pinterest team. A lot of them are based in Utah, and they are helping you with your media buying as if they're professional media buyers themselves. So they can show you, hey, if you increase your budget to $500 a day, you will own 40% of all impressions for this category. Like they'll share very transparently, like the way that trends.pinterest.com is super transparent of what's working. They want you to be successful. So once you start running ads, just trust within 2 weeks, someone from Pinterest is going to be contacting you, and they're going to help you. And even like we've had clients who've been walked through where Pinterest will launch the ads with them on the phone and help you mitigate if it doesn't feel like you're back in kindergarten, because maybe you're not already running complicated campaigns on Amazon and Facebook. But for the folks that we've seen, like for the Pinterest returns that we're seeing range from 3 to 12 return ad spend. We've seen even like a 100, but I'm isolating that as like a whole, like I'm not going to put that in with the average, but like 3 to 12 is what we see. Of course, the more you spend, the more powerful that ROAS tends to be. When you're just starting, I don't think unless you're like working with a Pinterest media buyer, you're going to see a positive return on ad spend within the first 60 days, if I'm just being honest, because a lot of it is trying to understand who's ready to buy now, and a lot of people on Pinterest are looking first. We know that consumer behavior is everyone wants to be a subject matter expert before they spend $1, especially going into recession, everyone's being even tighter with their budget. So I want to make sure I'm making the right purchase decision for me. And if you can get in front of that user first and deliver every objection buster they may have, they don't have to keep looking elsewhere. But it is, again, that like time to be inspired and time to purchase is much longer cycle on Pinterest, which is where I'm saying, like, if you don't have at least $100 a day per audience for the obvious categories in Pinterest, like it's not for the faint of heart to start. But when you start going, we see more return on ad spend than other platforms. There's less competition in the auction buying experience for the media buying, but like with all other platforms, people are competing and claiming credit for the same sales. So I just want to be super transparent that like we'll be running Pinterest ads and we'll see a much higher return on ad spend on Pinterest than on Facebook, but then Facebook is counting a lot of those other users because a lot of that Facebook targeting is going after that warm down the funnel audience. Whereas Pinterest is amazing for that top of funnel folks. You can, of course, return on ad spend on those obvious, like, hey, add to cart in the last 24 hours. Fine. But I care most about cold traffic. I want new customers to become loyal customers.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm hearing is the intention to buy and then actually making the purchase. That's a little bit longer, but it builds up. So once you build up that pipeline, so to speak, then it starts to pay off. And the other thing, unlike the other social media platforms, is Pinterest lives longer, right?
Yes.
So when you do the advertising, it's not like you get the return and then done. So whatever you paid for doesn't come back and return anymore. That's not the case with Pinterest. It just keeps giving further and further and further as time goes by.
I wouldn't even recommend, honestly, I wouldn't recommend even starting with Pinterest ads. And I know they're like, no, spend money on ads until you're getting at least 100 to 200,000 monthly views, which you can get in 30 to 90 days. We've done it time and time again. 100,000 monthly views. That's not 100,000 impressions once. It's 100,000 month after month, and it keeps growing because it's a compounding component, assuming you consistently post and like repurpose your content. But once you're at the 100,000, 200,000, like organically, then you start to see what type of pins are generating a lot of attention, and then you could put the budget towards it. But I wouldn't start with money out the gate, because you can start seeing return and lift on your traffic to your products, to your sites organically without having to spend money on the paid traffic side.
Yeah.